Oh, what a classic.
So amazing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to GeekVerse podcast Andor season 1, episode 5, spoilers review. I am the Senator Taylor Field. I'm joined by
The Axe Kirklin Patzer.
Yes, and a couple of plugs before we get into our non-spoilers and spoilers review. You can find us, your internet connection, in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook. Also, check us out on our Patreon, where you get ad-free, exclusive, early episodes available there. On top of that, what else has been popping off, Kirklin? Oh, support us on the Patreon. Yes, there we go with the banners. Thank you. I've been, unfortunately, I've been out of the loop here, but our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, you are a goddamn saint. April of Darkness, you are fantastic. Legendary Smelly Biggs, you are awesome as awesome. And Joshua Wright, you are the legend of legends. Top tier folks right there for making the show trek on. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. My neck, like you can see here, I still got the cast on. Like I was attacked. It was horrible experience. I told Travis not to put those tapes out, and he still did because he wanted to try and like bring justice, I guess, to my attacker. Identify. Yeah, it just left me just horrible experience. Everyone goes for my neck. I don't know. I feel like the people like they personally know my weakness now. It's just my neck ever since that brutal injury I took in that previous wrestling match.
It's a great spot. It's a very great vulnerable spot. You know, it's the highway to the brain. It connects the thinker to the doer. So yeah, it's a good. I would probably go for it if I'm not saying I'm person of interest. I'm not your attacker or anything like that. I'm not saying I know anything. I should just stop talking until my lawyer's here. So.
What else is going on? What have I missed lately, Kirkland?
I mean, yeah, we've Travis is doing his Travis Told Yous. We got side quests going off. We got tons and tons of reviews. You missed? Did you watch House of Dragon? I know you.
I'm caught up on everything.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So Travis and I watched and reviewed that. That was lots of fun. Rings of Power every week. She-Hulk, Andor. is coming out every week as well, and yeah, just tons of great content. Very importantly though, coming up down the bend, we got our, and as you'll notice, Taylor, I've actually updated the banner now. This is our the 6th annual 24-hour extra life stream happening on November 7th. We have our goal of $3,500, which is a big hefty goal, and we've already gotten some donations coming in, so that's absolutely fantastic because it goes to an absolute great cause, BC Children's Hospital, for the kids. And yeah, it just if you can't, I get it, not everybody can donate their hard-earned dollars, but
just hate kids.
Just hate kids. I wasn't gonna say that, but you know what goes a long way is also just like sharing it, getting the word out there, because again, who knows, some people might just have a spare dollar hanging around, and if we get less than $3,500 $1 donations we need now. I can't quite remember exactly what the number is already, but again, that's coming up around the bend, November 7th, 9 a.m. with a lot of trivia, a lot of laughs, a lot of gaming, a lot of tears when Travis finally loses in Lord of the Rings Monopoly. But yeah, I think that's kind of everything, honestly, right now. On top of news, every bloody day, apparently.
Yeah, right on. I think we're doing an impromptu newscast tomorrow. We have She-Hulk that'll be popping off as well tonight.
That's right.
So yeah, lots of good stuff. But yeah, I think you pretty much covered it all. Do you want to take us into your non-spoilers thoughts?
Yeah, I wasn't here last week as well, so maybe I'll quickly give my overall thoughts. Not too long. It's honestly just, yeah, the episode was good. I feel like, and even just, leading into my non-spoilers for this episode, I feel like definitely the show pace is on the slower variety, but honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. If you're live listening to this, or if you guys are listening to this, obviously we're not doing this one at midnight, just a lot of different reasons and whatever happenstance. So I feel like now that I'm not like midnight like watching this, I just watched it earlier today, I was really able to maybe just not have those sleepy eyes during it. So I actually enjoyed this episode a lot more, and maybe last week's that was the reason I was trying to watch it like late at night and just kind of dozing off. Didn't make it clearly, but yeah, man, I honestly, I'm really liking the show. I think this is the best looking Star Wars content that I've gotten since like those big budget movies, and I don't even think that's like like a hyperbole or anything like that. Like this show looks fantastic. I'm really loving just like the early rebellion stuff. I feel like again this show I've already mentioned on like a previous episode, but I feel like this is just boosting my overall enjoyment of like Rogue One and like what that era is. And I know people are like tired of this like dark era stuff, but like if it's still like on this quality of show, I can get so much more of it just seeing these characters on the ground level and different pieces. Maybe this isn't even really a spoiler. Just like something like a TIE fighter, like coming like across like a ridge or something. It has so much more fear on me, like seeing it like through the eyes of some of these characters, and the way that it's portrayed in the show versus like if you're watching like big movies and you see like hundreds of TIE fighters, it's like okay, what are those gonna do? But in this show, it just totally gets that fear level and vulnerability on certain characters, and I think this show is just delivering that so well. Because again, like the show's not littered with like Jedi's and Sith users or anything like that. But it still just has me gripped, and the slower pace it's not bothering me by any means. So, yeah,
Kind of like that meme where that hurricane's coming, the sand tornado, and the guy's like, "Here it comes!" Every time one TIE fighter's like swooping in.
Yeah, here it comes. Exactly. That's how I feel when I'm watching. I'm getting all nervous. What's his name? Diego Luna as the lead is just man, what a treasure he is. He's so fantastic. Yeah, I'm all the other side characters that we're getting introduced to. I'm actually really liking minus one character that I didn't love in a previous episode. If you can do your deduction skills on who that might be, but again, that's very glossing over. I don't the creepy thin man. I forgot we had that loaded up. So yeah, honestly, I'm pretty high on the show. I think this episode. After this episode, I think I'm the highest on the show than I've been, and like I wasn't even really in the negative or anything like that. It was like, yeah, I'm liking the show, but now I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, I think I'll leave it at there. To the field.
Yeah. This episode, again, it was a slower paced episode for me, but it doesn't detract from where we're going in the story at all. I looked at Madison as we're watching it. I said straight to her face, like, Madison, this is the kind of out of the box world building show that we have never gotten in Star Wars before. And you don't always need the Jedi. You don't always need like the guns blazing and the blasting, but sometimes to have this adult kind of content just really just delivers. We get to see so many other aspects. We get to have so much dialogue, and I would say Easter egg mentions, but not all of it. But we get to have a lot of different things pop up in conversation that are relevant because it's all based on world building, and it's not needing to be relevant to like Skywalker's Jedi or anything like that in a movie or another setting. Like it's just its own thing. So when it drops certain key words you can pick up on, it's just nice how fluid it is with the world building and the progression of the story and the characters and such. So this show's right up my alley. Last week, it sucks you went on the last week's episode because I feel like we would have really popped off because like I I'm not sure how much you know about like the Imperial Security Bureau, the
I
ISB, but
don't.
that's something we kind of got in like a little more in last week's episode. And they're kind of like the overseers, like in the Imperial Navy. Like if you step out of line, we come in and clean up the mess. Like we investigate like the seediness of like Imperial officers. And there was just a little bit of that like going behind the guy's back into his territory in last week's episode, and like she was
Yeah.
trying to like figure it out. I just love that. That's so Imperial like. So to see more of the Imperials doing their doings is going to be very interesting. And you mentioned it, like the scale and the beauty of this episode and just the show in general with that movie quality. It feels heavy, especially when that one
Yeah.
TIE fighter swoops over. It just is so powerful.
And like shots of like characters. I know they're not actually in like that setting. It's a CGI screen, but I'm like it's seamless. Like it looks so good. Like I'm not seeing like weird cutting. And at different lightings. I usually that stuff is a lot more noticeable in the day scenes, but like we got day scenes in here. We got some bright moments, and it's just like, yeah, that's actually like it looks so good. So yeah, again, the visuals were chef's kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think if I had anything else I wanted to shout out. It's such a good show.
Something I want to ask you, or I want, yeah, just my other cohort here, and that happens to be you, was how would you feel if this like specifically this show because it is a little bit slower paced. And I know they're like hour-long episodes, but while I was watching this and it ended abruptly, and again, I'm not going to say too many spoilers here, but like I feel like what would happen if like they did 2 episode releases at a time? I feel like for a show like this, I actually would really enjoy it because I feel like we're getting somewhere. And last week's episode had this too, where it's like, oh, okay, next week we're going to be covering a bunch of stuff. And I'm not saying like we don't, but it's just like, oh, like we got so close to it, but now we have to like wait another week. And I, that's a part of the formula to like get us just wanting more. I think of having those moments, but I feel like on a show like this, especially like I'm looking at the episode spread right now, and I feel like honestly, if you pair like the like 2 episodes in the order that they've come out like together, I think that's fine, honestly. Not if you're doing a midnight review because you're never going to be going to sleep. But I don't know. I think just because it is slower, maybe if I'm waiting a week and then you're like, oh right, like I'm jumping into a show that's this pace. Maybe if you are already coming off like a first episode into a second episode, it won't feel as like you're expecting something to ramp up. It's just like, oh yeah, this is the pace of the show. I don't know if I'm explaining that the best, but like, what do you think about that like formula? Like even just in like Disney Plus shows overall, like if they start doing something like that of like actually any streaming of like a 2 episode drop. I know like sometimes we get it on the initial episode. In this case, we got 3 episode drops, but if they just did 2 episodes a week, I don't know. Like, does that sound out of the question? Like, that is just blasphemy, heresy. Get those ideas out of here.
I don't think it's bad whatsoever. I think it would be very, very fitting. I think it would work nicely. I think it's
Yeah.
for a show like this, I think it'd be enough to kind of keep the level of interest and intrigue in there. Because what when you look at a show like Rebels and you look at a show like Clone Wars, you get the Jedi, you get all that kind of stuff, and it's high octane, it's fast paced, but it's animated, it's for the kids, so kids want that stuff. When they think Star Wars, they think Jedi, and they need that association. When you look at something like this, if kids are trying to watch this, it's going to be a very, very slow burn for them. I don't know many kids that are going to be super indoctrinated into this
Yeah.
show. It's mostly for the
There's a
adults.
little Taylor
so-
out there, I'm sure.
Oh,
He's
there
in
is.
that.
Little Taylor's
Yeah.
just eating this shit up. But if you do 2 episodes at once, then maybe a younger audience would kind of be able to latch on. And I think maybe
Yeah.
even the GA would be able to kind of be more intrigued in this because you have the one episode that's a slow burn, then the next episode's a payoff, and then just kind of like keep doing that.
Yeah.
So it brings you in every week.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like I've never really seen that across streaming platforms, and specifically while I was watching this show, because I actually watched like yeah, like I was kind of half watching last week's episode leading into this episode, like when I watched it today, and it just felt like a natural like cohesion of just having those 2 episodes together. And again, like maybe if you find it slow, maybe if you put 2 together, that's just like a 2 hour slow burn if you're not loving the pace. So I could definitely see it going either way. But I don't know. I wanted to pose the question to you. I'm just if that's as bonkers of an idea as I thought it was when I said it out loud. But no.
No, it's a good question. It's a good question. Anything else you have before we dive into our spoilers thoughts?
Let's dive right in, sir.
Okay, we're going to jump to our first ad break and we will be right back. And we're back. So where do you want to start?
I just kind of want to talk about like the crew that Cassian or Clem is hanging out with, and like like this is his team that he's going to be doing this mission with. And last week we were like introduced to them, mostly like the main girl. And I'm gonna have to pull up the IMDb because I do not remember like any of their names, unfortunately.
I haven't learned their names either.
Okay, I'm not alone there. But yeah, like last week we introduced them, a bunch of like I don't know ragtag crew, and then this week we get a little bit more time with them, especially just specifically that one dude with like the tats that was like all up in Cassian's business. You hear a little bit about like his backstory and like dealing with the opposition here. And I don't know, just a little bit more personality to them. And honestly, I really like all of the scenes with these characters, and I think I like all the characters that were introduced. There's obviously we get more time with some more than others, specifically with that guy and his brother farming trees. What a business, eh? But yeah, I don't know. I just for me, I really like just having like Cassian be this like suspicious individual on this very highly stressful, like highly sensitive mission, and like from their perspective they just have this guy that they can't trust. And I know I'm kind of talking about last week's stuff because I wasn't exactly there for that, but like again this week we're actually commencing the mission here. Like the mission is a go by the time this episode ends, and I am very, very excited to just see this mission possibly go not 100% right, but also just like this crew in action. And I don't know, like you have like the classic sciencey guy that's just like giving you all the facts on like what like just the specifics of what this event is. And I really liked him. I really liked the lead, as I said. And like the who is he, like the guy that's like training him to be a soldier, that character as well. I again, I just like all of them. So I figured you're probably the same. Again, this whole review is probably gonna be pretty positive for the most part. But yeah, just what are your thoughts on I guess you could like specifically ask about that one guy and his brother. And I'm gonna pull up the name because the one guy and his brother is a best description.
Yeah, the whole crew, I like how we got a little bit more in depth with them. I like that we kind of got to explore the turbulence, because when Cassian was introduced, it was just very much like, okay, are we just accepting this? Or are they not questioning it a little bit more? And I'm glad this episode focused on them questioning it. And they were actually a little bit more receptive to what he was saying. And he made great points. Like soldiers wouldn't walk with their blasters facing their co-soldiers. Like they are left-handed, right-handed, swap the guns out so they're facing outwards. And this is valuable information. And I like that he was kind of picking apart things of their plan too, just to kind of, not jokingly, but just he found it humorous to a degree. And the distrust as well. Again, I can't remember that guy's name, but when he like sneaks into his bag and he's trying to look for something and eventually finds that Sky Kyber crystal, I really like that scene as well. And it comes down to the truth, like for Cassian, like, yeah, hey, I'm here for the money, nothing else. And it fits with Cassian. Why would he be here for any other reason than the money right now? The rebellion is not a very strong thing. It's just
Mm-hmm.
at this point of the game, it's just pockets of them all around the galaxy. We the rebellion that you were anticipating to see in A New Hope, Empire, the whole original trilogy, you're not getting that in this show. It's if you want to understand and experience what the rebellion is like, watch Star Wars Rebels, and then you'll know. But
I'll get
I,
that.
I like how these characters, some of them like Cassian, are like, hey, yeah, give me the money, and then it changes. And he's very much like a Jyn Erso at this point, where he's kind of
Right.
transitioning over, and these characters are like, hey, we don't really trust you. And I feel like I want to say that these characters are gonna live, but they might get Rogue One and just fucking just killed in this
Yeah.
mission.
I got a strong feeling that main blonde chick is gonna die. Just the way that they like, it's like, oh, good luck. It's like, no, save it. We'll save it for tomorrow. We got a big mission to commence then. I'm like, oh, she's gonna die. She's not gonna make it out, and it will affect me. I don't know her whole life, but I liked the layers that was revealed about her like so far of just like be like she was really opposed to having Cassian like on this mission, right? Like when she was speaking to Skarsgård there. Oh my gosh, Luthen, is that his name?
Luthen, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him at least. So like again, like you have to do this mission or just call it off. Like it just won't work. And her having to be so reluctant on taking him, and then having to like flip 180 and sell this character on her crew, even though she doesn't really fully believe it at that time, but maybe just kind of like because she believes in Luthen so much, like it just kind of this is the way it has to be. And I think going from last week's episode to this week's episode, like she again, like she's made all like she's always been kind of defending Cassian or Clem, whatever you want to call him. But in this episode, I feel like now she's really understanding on like the value of him. I'm like, okay, this is actually probably the right decision. And I love that scene when he was like basically just like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing here, like because they're like asking the questions like, what would you do here? It's like, is this a test? Like, do you actually not know the answer here? It's like, what would you do if you didn't have me? Like I just love, again, Diego Luna just being fantastic and selling those scenes, but also just like the other characters' reactions that up until this point it seems like they've had pretty much everything planned out like flawless. They have all their like dioramas and it looks fantastic, but there's still holes in the plan. And because it's so it's such a sensitive plan and so much weight to it of having the rebellion, which is like it's like a match that's like really cold and like doesn't have a lot of heat, like oxygen to it. So it's just like a little flicker, and like that's kind of what the rebellion is right now, right? Where like even just like a small little breath or like gust of wind could just put it out. And on it, like I don't know if all the viewers are getting that vibe, but for myself, I'm definitely feeling that, and it has so much tension and like suspense. Like again, like when they're just like going over their plan, they have their guns out, and then all of a sudden you hear the TIE fighter. I'm like, oh no, like this is stressful for me. And I'm not naive enough to think that the mission's gonna, I don't know, all these characters are gonna die in this episode, but still, it definitely gets me going there in the nervous realm. I'm
Mhm.
sure you probably feel the same there.
Oh, I do. Yeah, when the TIE fighters are swooping over and just the power of it, like when it passes by and you hear the ion engines in the distance, it's
Yeah,
eerie, and then it
they like cover their
disappears.
ears,
They cover
like
their
the
ears,
effect
yeah,
too. Yeah.
absolutely. It like it vanishes over, and then they're like, "Oh no, it's coming back," and it just like just such a low flyby over the river, just being such like a dick, and it just, but it's a
Permission to do a
power.
flyby, like
Yeah,
Maverick up there.
negative Ghost Rider, negative. Um, it's totally just a power trip. Then it's just like implementing like, hey, we are this iron fist and we rule, like just
Yeah,
stay suppressed. And I love that because again, a TIE fighter, we're so used to just seeing them get blown up to smithereens all the time. But in this, like you said, it just feels like a very powerful tool.
yeah. Like I've seen so many Tie fighters get destroyed, and I've played, not the new Battlefronts, but definitely back in the day, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'm like, TIE fighters, come on, that's not scary. That's not even a cool ship. But here, like, just again, I feel like the Empire is so heavy on like that symbol of just like ultimate power and like that grip that they have on their empire. No pun intended there, but I feel like just yeah, being on the ground and like just the fear that the sound of the TIE fighter brings. Uh, yeah, and yeah, it's fantastic, man. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
absolutely. Speaking of like the TIE fighter Imperial aspect, this is our first time we actually got to look at the Imperial base they're going to be assaulting, and we got to be introduced to a few
Yeah,
new characters. How'd you, because I'm assuming actually that this lieutenant character was the one that missed his promotion, fell in love with the local lady
yeah.
and such. Okay, that's what I thought.
That's how I took it. Yeah, definitely. Um, I'll get his name because I had it, and then as we talked about, of course, it slips through the cracks there. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, right? Of having like not just a rebellion guy that like got what's the word when you like sneak your way into the ranks? You infiltrated. There you go.
Yeah.
Infiltrated like the empire. It's like this guy actually was just full empire, and as a very human thing, like he fell in love. It's unfortunate for him that the relationship didn't work out. They didn't go into too many like specifics. It just in my head canon, he just got dumped or something. It's just like sad, and then
So what that guy in Avatar says, like, you get some local tail, betray your own race.
oh yes, that's probably what happened. And then he betrayed his own empire. He just wasn't a soldier man anymore. Maybe he went like a big soul search there. But alas, he just doesn't want to do it anymore and like wants to real fuck them over. So I don't know. I like the dynamic. I also like just the actual scene itself, like when he was basically ensuring that there would be like no extra guards like down like in where the mission was happening, and it all just kind of aligns perfectly where he like led them into it, and then when he walks off he kind of like smirks because like they were the one that like requested. It's like, we just kind of need a skeleton crew, right? And he's like, yes we do. So I don't know, I like that scene. And again, like I'm just gonna be kind of praising this episode overall. Like there really wasn't much negative for me like at all, other than creepy thin man, but we'll get there.
Yeah. The again, the setup, I'm glad that you mentioned that because it took me a while to really clue in like this was the lieutenant that was kind of like helping them, because when the guy was standing waving the torch and the lieutenant was filming, I'm like, why the fuck are they giving away their position? I was expecting like a TIE fighter super
Type.
shoot. Like, oh, he's on their team. Now it makes sense. But fuck, didn't
So
clue
you
in.
didn't see him smirk? You didn't see him smirk in that earlier scene?
Well, it just didn't. No, I didn't. Like, it didn't
Yeah.
connect the dots for some reason. Yeah, but no, I'm glad it makes sense now in retrospect. I don't know what I was thinking because yeah, I just thought they're being stupid, just waving this torch, showing their position, all that jazz.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it all makes sense now. But I love even the dialogue that he has with that guy on the what would you call it? I guess the top of the dam, just looking out
Yeah,
there. So
like on the guardrail thing.
yeah, and the guy just turning into kind of a bit of like a prejudiced racist son of a bitch. He's like, oh, I can't imagine the smell of 1,000 of these people in here. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
neither can I. But he's obviously reminiscing about his local tale. So
So Lieutenant Gorn, that's his name.
Gorn, right?
Very like evil bad guy name. But and again, that visually that was like, man, I feel like they're actually on like a dam somewhere. Like it looks so it looks fantastic. Like I feel like I'm pretty nitpicky with that. Where like fortunately now I'm able to like look past it and hopefully just like enjoy. But like still it's like that's very noticeable. But here like I just cannot tell at all. And huge credit to just again the whole team, but able to make it look so beautiful. And yeah, I just like that scene overall of Lieutenant Gorn just checking in on this guy and just having that little superior soldier conversation because we don't get much of that. You know, like maybe no, like I'm trying, and again, it's probably some Clone Wars Rebels example in there, but like for myself at least, like I feel, and I'm probably wrong here, but I feel like a lot of the time I don't get that from like the Empire side of just like a foot soldier and that character. And like this is, yeah, you're shaking your whole body there because you can't shake your head. But like this is just something that would normally happen between like your main characters, and if it's the bad guys, it would be like the Emperor and like Darth Vader, or like General like, yeah, General Tarkin, or something like that. So, I. I feel like that sorry, for that reason is why I'm liking the show so much because I didn't realize how much I was gonna really love like this level of Star Wars content, and I think it's working so good for this show. Honestly, I think it's really really enjoyable, especially
Yeah.
having 40 minutes. Sorry to like cut you off
Oh
again, but
no, I couldn't
like if
agree.
this was 20 minutes, I feel like I would, the pacing might feel different, but I think it is better because of that reason. And stretching out over like a 40-minute episode is, I
Absolutely.
think it's the way to go.
Absolutely. It's I mean, you pretty much just hit the nail on the head. The dialogue that we're getting between these Imperials, I love, and that's not something that's replicated in other shows or other movies. So you're right. Imperial stuff in the other movies, it's limited to like that high-ranking one official, like Grand Moff Tarkin, Governor, Regent, General Pride, or whatever all these the new order rankings are, but or the first order rankings are. It's limited, or it's like a Kylo Ren and a Snoke, or like you said, a Vader and a Palpatine. It's so limited into that, and there's so much more. That's one of the reasons why I crave what we get in Solo, because you get little bits of that
Mm,
dialogue
forgot about
from
that.
Solo as like a mud trooper talking with the other higher ups and stuff. It's fantastic. So in here now, we get some real in-depth conversation. In Rebels and Clone, well, not so much Clone Wars, but in Rebels, you get Imperial conversations, but it's so hokey. It's for kids, right? It's not going to be juicy stuff. When I read my Thrawn novels, I'm getting real in-depth Imperial conversations, the political agenda, they're trying to get ahead, like advancement of their
Yeah.
careers. It's so good. And to get that in this show, that's why I'm eating it up. Like if Thrawn
Mm-hmm.
manifested in this show, that'd be an easy insta 10 out of 10 for me. Like right now, it's sitting at like a 9 out of 10, I'd say, just
Mm.
because of what we're getting in this Imperial stuff. It's what I've always wanted in a show. So when we're getting that in this base, or we're getting it with the Imperial Security Bureau dialogue, it's just all right up my alley.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I again, like even just watching last week's episode, I was like, man, Taylor's just juicing as soon as we see that like Imperial like boardroom thing. And
Oh,
I don't know who is playing like that main Imperial guy, but goddamn, that is pitch perfect casting. Honestly, he is just so phenomenal, and it's not even like he has that power like fear that someone like a Darth Vader or even like the Emperor would bring, but like or like yeah, just another force user or something like that. It's just like the political power that he brings and like the confidence in his role and like it's not like he's going out of his way to be a dick, but like he's the perfect level of dick for the Imperial role. And yeah, just his voice and everything, the look, like he is just he's such a great character or sorry actor to have in that character role.
So that's like the leader of the ISB, right? Who was like the two people walked in and he's there like and he was kind of like final word on the case.
Right. Yes.
Um
Yes.
so his name is Anton Lesser, and I thought I recognized him so hard. And he was in Game of
So hard.
Thrones. He played the that
Oh.
Grand Maester for Queen Cersei in the final seasons. He was doing like
Oh
all the necromancy kind of
shit.
stuff.
That's right. Oh my
He's
god, I
in
can picture him now.
You
That's
can
so
see him
funny.
now. Yeah, he's in a
Yeah.
few other things
Great
too.
actor. There you
Yeah,
go.
very very
For
good
that type of
actor.
role, absolutely. That
Yeah.
type of role. I'm comparing the Maester and this guy's position. I think they're a little bit different there, but yeah, no, he's great. And I mean, just on that note, maybe I can just keep leading into like the other Imperial characters because you have the female character, which I don't know. Was I getting like some nepotism vibes that she's like related to someone, like in
Well,
like
Star
the
Wars loves to relate their characters to other people, so I mean,
I was
maybe.
I was like waiting for the reveal that she was like related to him for some reason, but
Oh,
that never really happened. So I'm not too confident on that
well,
linkage anymore. But it's just like you have like a high bar. Is that just because like I don't know? Help me out here. I'm a
the
little bit
rumor
confused.
was that she could be related and is the sister to Andor. Um,
Oh,
but I disagree. I have to confirm the color of the eyes, also hair color and her sister, like and again
well, come
skin
on.
color.
They could have different eyes. Or are you talking about the flashback? I guess.
We'll flashback too because
Yeah.
you see little Andor sister, and then you can see this lady. So again, like skin color, hair color, eye color might be the same. I can't really
Okay.
tell, but yeah, that was one rumor I saw that people were talking about. But you're talking about now her relation to which Imperial?
Just someone in the Empire. Initially, I was waiting for the reveal of like the Grand Maester guy.
Mm.
Forget his name. And like, what's his title?
He
I know the Empire loves
was
their very weird name titles. We got Moffs in there.
yeah, he was Major Partagas, a major.
Major
Ooh,
Partagas. It's a pretty cool name. Sounds like a
yeah.
Spaniard. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Just in that moment, I was getting like, oh, this is where we're going. But then it like fizzled out as I mentioned. But I don't know. Like, did you get any like reading out of that like I did about like you have a high bar for like I don't know. Was I just missing something there that they were explaining, or is it just because she has a very important role?
There's definitely more to her than meets the eye, and I'm not expecting her to be like, my name is so and so Skywalker, or anything like that. But I'm sure she's
Everyone's a Skywalker now.
yeah, everyone's a
She goes
Skywalker.
buries her clipboard in the desert.
Yeah. I'm sure that she's got some more in-depth backstory to her, which I'm very open and I'll be receptive to learning about. But at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be anyone insignificant or important. I'm happy with just who she is and who she will turn out to be as a character. So
Yeah,
yeah.
cool. I guess the last thing I could throw on there with her is like she does seem to be very adamant on weeding out this rebellion, right? Like she's going above what her even like superior kind of wanted her to focus on, and then she has her. It's oh my god, I'm seeing like Halo comparisons almost of her and like Halsey and like Halsey's little like weird like servant scientist guy.
Oh
This
yeah.
character has that equivalent where it's like, well, I'm staying if you're staying. Two more folders each. Um, I don't know why I saw that comparison, but again, I guess I just did the blonde hair. Maybe I compared her to Halsey, but I don't know. She just seems like not a character that has a lot of redeeming qualities, and I'm not saying that like she's like murdering families and whatnot, but it just seems like her intention from the eyes of like what the rebellion kind of is. She's a major problem for them. Like she really wants to weed it out.
Yeah, it's so random that it's too random as something like how
That
they put
line,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
dig it. Anything else you have on the Empire?
Um, I like that scene of again like the other character that was disciplining the creepy thin man last week or the week before. I think it was last week. Like when he's in kind of like the aftermath of like what happened on just in that. What was that area called? Like the city, or is it just the planet's name?
I can't remember the name of the planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the town
The
area,
after yeah
basically. Yeah.
the aftermath of it. I like that scene when he calls that guy over, and then he like asks something, and then he's like, no, I'm not asking if you want the assignment, like the assignment is yours, I'm asking if like this works as your HQ. He's like, oh, okay, like can I have this title? It's not a pay raise or whatnot. It's like, I don't fucking care what you're doing. I just again I like that dynamic because that's something that I don't really have much like history with, of having a like not even the highest up of an imperial, just some sort of officer just like interacting with like kind of his subordinate, and then like kind of like seeing them like with those type of soldiers, and then seeing them in like the boardroom setting, and like how not powerful they seem when they're like talking to their boss. I don't know if I'm explaining that the best,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's just again I'm enjoying that dynamic a lot more than what I was expecting, and I don't think like the whole general audience is going to be feeling the same way. But again, like for me, I'm so surprised on how much I'm actually enjoying a lot of this stuff, and I was interested enough in the Star Wars politics, but like this type of cloak and dagger balancing with the imperial side of the politics, it's got me excited, and I'm really looking forward to when we get that big bad blue daddy Thrawn. I'm excited to find out more about that guy because you've just
Yeah.
been piquing my interest with all your
He
explanations of him.
he's kicking around this time. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll save him for Ahsoka, but
Yeah,
a part of me would love just to have some little reveal of him, and then like, oh, this is who's playing Thrawn, and like casting confirmed for
that
Ahsoka. But
that moment is gonna be a while. Whatever media it's his first like just see like the blue skin like alien Thrawn on screen. That's gonna be a very very hype moment, and I'm gonna get like secondhand hype,
oh
secondhand
yeah,
juice off of you because I'll be feeling. That's a weird way to say that, but you know what I mean.
I'm gonna paint my skin blue. I'm gonna like tattoo my eyes
Come
red.
on,
Like,
please do not tattoo your eyes red. You can just get like contacts now. You don't have to go full
probably better. Yeah.
commitment. Hey Madison, I got my eyes done.
Fuck, look like a demon. Um, mm. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, what do we got here cooking up? I guess we can talk about Luthen, specifically
Yeah.
the fact that he's packing a lot of hair up on that head. I can only imagine
Oh
what
yeah.
he's got popping off down below. But we got a solution for you, Luthen. Oh my God. Welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code GVPOD. You can see it in the tab down below. Definitely try it, check it out. So, whether you're brand new or already with us at Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0. Kirklin, I'm dying to know, how is your Manscaped package treating you?
My Manscaped package is absolutely phenomenal. I feel like a lot of times too when I'm watching like Star Wars universe things, especially like Andor set in Star Wars, I'm always just again like amazed by the technology and stuff like that. But I don't know why. I just feel like these type of materials, like a Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, it's just like I don't even think like a Star Wars realm could have something like that good. I know they have laser things, but like I've never seen a precision tool like the Lawnmower 4.0. Something with like an LED light attachment to it so that you can just see it all lightings. If you're in, like Daemon Targaryen, Rhaenyra in the last week's episode, and it's just fucking pitch black for 80% of the episode, you could see things going on with your Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. And you got the weed whacker for your nasal hairs. I know I was slacking for a couple weeks. I wasn't trimming them back. Shay was starting to instead of staring at my eyes, she was staring at my nose hairs going down there. But luckily, I have my weed whacker that went in there and cleaned them all out. And you can use it on your ears too, I believe.
You can. I'm not big on
Yeah.
that.
I'm not big on that either. And again, luckily, I'm not. I don't know if it's like an age thing when all of a sudden you just get packed with ear hair, but I have not hit that threshold yet. Hopefully, I don't, at least excessively. But I mean, if it happens, I got the tools for the job.
You got the tools.
Especially now that it's getting the fall season, as you mentioned, it's getting a little bit cooler. I know at least for myself, my lips start to get a lot drier, and luckily, you get the Manscaped lip balm with you everywhere you go, and your lips are luscious and ready for smacking.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash, Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to also apply their aluminum-free Ultra Premium deodorant. And don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice. It's a cologne quality fragrance. I love their deodorant so much. I use it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we got here? Now, you shouldn't save a signature scent for our pets. Use the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner to make sure your go-to smell is top shelf and not sweaty balls. I can't express how valuable that is. I just came back not too long ago before my neck injury. I was at a wedding
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I had to pop on some of that. And just because, you're dancing on a dance floor, you're going hot and heavy. And let me tell you, like, just you're the best smelling person in the whole dance room. It's fantastic. So
I gotta
definitely get
ask
that.
because you said you had to throw it on. Were you like dancing and then you realized that you didn't have your crop preserver out? So then you like jumped in the closet,
I didn't even
lobbed
go in
up
the
the.
closet. I was just as I was
No,
dancing, I
yeah.
just put
As
it on
you're
my
dancing,
hands, just put it down below. Just
anybody
screw it.
need some?
Yeah,
Anybody need some
yeah,
crop
yeah,
preserver?
exactly. Can't stop the beats on,
I
so you
mean,
gotta
you can
keep
share
going.
it. It's phenomenal. Everybody's gonna want some.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, go to manscaped.com, 20% off free shipping with the code GVPOD. It's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. When you use code GVPOD, Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine. And we're gonna jump to our next ad break, and we'll be right back. And we're back.
I just gotta
Hallelujah.
quickly say that was one of my favorite like ad reads ever. I think an introduction. I didn't know where you're going with Luthen, but that was great. So yeah, let's just go Luthen now here. We didn't get him really much in this episode till the end. Um, I'm loving this gadget room. I know he's like kind of the collector equivalent now. He's like a seller of rare artifacts, which is just such a great job title, I think, in the Star Wars universe. I never really thought about characters like this really in the Star Wars realm, but it totally makes sense that they would just have so many of them, out in the world. You guys probably broke down, like Easter eggs of the armor
We
sets and stuff.
we didn't so much last week. I only mentioned the Star Killer armor from last week's
Yeah.
episode, but there was like I sent few photos in the group chat.
Yeah, I
There
saw
was
that.
like a Gungan shield in there and a few other cool things. I have
Mm-hmm.
something that I think you'll find really
Pull it
interesting.
up.
Let's see. Present. So you see this room scene here, right? And we
Yes.
got like our Jedi and Sith holocrons.
I
Do you
had that
see
image to my
these?
right. I was about to ask you about a lot of stuff in this, so sorry. Carry on.
No, no, no. All good, all good. You see these stones here?
Are those the Indiana Jones stones from Temple of Doom?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they
they
are.
are.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Absolutely love that because our other reference was in Indiana Jones, the not Temple of Doom. Why am I forgetting? Last Crusade Kings. The
Last Crusade Kings. I think it's just the Last
what the
Crusade.
hell? Why am I forgetting this one? Indiana Jones, with the Ark. Why am I forgetting? It's not called the Ark
Raiders
of
of
the
the Lost
Covenant.
Ark.
Thank you, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah, there's an Easter egg in there where you see like R2D2 and C3PO on one of these golden
Oh, that's
pillars.
cool.
So yeah,
That's
this is
funny.
another one here.
Oh,
Oh,
actually,
beautiful.
yes. I think I noticed that the last time I was watching it. Actually, so that's funny. Yeah, because when I saw this particular scene with the stones, I didn't really notice like the square and or sorry, wow. Let me rephrase that. I didn't really see the stones at first. I was fixated on the square and the pyramid looking thing, and that's really what I wanted to ask you on. But yeah, when you showed up the image there, I'm like, that looks exactly like the stones
Mhm.
from Temple of Doom. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
looks really good.
him just having possession too of like Sith and Jedi holocrons. I feel like Sidious would storm in here, just cut his head off and take that because that's like
Maybe they don't
that's
know, right?
significant. Well, they probably don't know. I feel
It's
like the
probably
Jedi
like
holocron is like exceedingly valuable, right? Because like Luke was looking everywhere for these things.
and Luthen's just chilling with him in his radio room. I yeah, and again, like we had scenes like this in Solo, like when they're in, uh, oh my gosh, what was his name? The bad guys. He had like his office with all those
Right,
like
Dryden
cool artifacts.
Voss.
Yeah, Voss's like office, and I love all those shots because again, it gives you an opportunity to like pause it and just be like, oh, take everything in. Like, what does this all mean? Like, what's it like? What are the references and stuff? So, yeah, I think that on top of just the overall look of the room, I really liked, and I just kind of liked how he's in this position that he's obviously helped out a lot in this mission and like did what he can, but he's at that stage that he can't do anything right now. It's just the pieces are falling and they're gonna land where they land, and he can't do anything. Even like I don't know, like his assistant type lady, I don't know specifically what her position is, but she just says like nothing's going to change whether you listen to it or not. Like you can't do anything right now, and that's just not really something that he can fully accept right now, even though not much else he can do. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I like how he's like having those second thoughts on Cassian as well, right? And like it's not. I feel like it's not even so much like he's not believing Cassian. It's just it's so stressful because this is like the night before the event. It's just like, oh, did I do everything right? Should I have taken Cassian? Like should I have been there? Like all these things that are what if? Because this is such a major thing that's going on. Like I like what he um says like at the end of that scene, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to paraphrase it because I don't remember specifically what it was, but something along the lines like tomorrow's the end of it or the beginning of like something completely different. So it has me very very hyped, and unfortunately the episode ended after this, and this is another one where I'm like, fuck, I wish I had 2 episodes here because I on like last week's episode they talked about the mission. I really thought we were gonna at least get some of the mission. Now I know it like
Mm-hmm.
they like left to do the mission here, but I'm not really counting that as the mission itself. So next week I would definitely expect it to be, but Taylor Field, I said a lot there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand the secretary's position either because yeah, she seems like she was just kind of. I know she's not the boss, but just
It
I guess
seemed
it's
like
like
it, right? In the
it
scene.
seemed like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was
guess it's
weird.
like just a free thinking, open job. I guess position she has. Like, yeah, nothing's gonna change, and I mean, she is right. Like, nothing is gonna happen. He's just sitting there listening in, and for what? He's just gonna keep stressing himself out. So I do like that her and him are kind of like in on this, just trying to like rattle everyone's cage for the Empire. But yeah, his again, just his store, his character. I love his character. I think it's awesome. I think it was Travis that mentioned he's probably not going to make it out of this show, but
I could
yeah,
see that.
his whole storefront is fantastic. I really really like it. I like when she was like, yeah, we got a client in the morning, so very cool to see what kind of like world building we get from that, and just more of like his relationship with I don't need a lot of his relationship connection with our heroes, but a little bit more with Andor, and then I would like to see a little bit more of his relationship with Mon Mothma.
Yeah. And speaking of her, I didn't really talk about her from last week, but um, I think all of the scenes around her have been really good this week. I don't know, not as great as it was last week in my opinion. I again like it's not in the gut or anything. Like I do like to see that dynamic of her with her family and her daughter, which I don't believe was in last week's episode, right?
No, her daughter wasn't. Her husband
Yeah,
was.
yeah, her husband was. And just that dynamic is very interesting. How she's balancing all these different things of being a senator, right? That's her role
Hmm.
in the empire. But also kind of helping orchestrate this rebellion thing, and then like the family dynamic, and how she kind of has to like hide from just her own driver because the empire just has spies like everywhere. It's and like you would think someone like that, it's like they're doing really good, but like she is under like a microscope at all times. Like she probably has so much stress in her life, as well as just like trying to keep. I don't know. Like I would imagine she wants to have like some sort of relationship with her daughter, and it's just like how do you do all those things? So it shines a light on these type of Empire characters that I just would have assumed is a chess piece in the Empire army, right? And I fucking love the aesthetic of her like dinner room there. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh, it's beautiful there, and like all the outfits matching, color aesthetic was pleasurable for the eyes there.
Hmm. Very much so. I give them such props for changing Coruscant. Like we have the Coruscant we grew up with and the prequels that
Mm-hmm.
we're used to, and that as CGI crazy as it was, that Coruscant, it was still fantastic, and it still felt like the Old Republic. It felt like those Old Republic games. Like
Mm-hmm.
it had that aesthetic to it. And now it's the same Coruscant 15 years later, but it feels imperialized. It
Yeah.
feels different, and I just can't get behind that enough. It's fantastic how they did that. And you're
Yeah.
right, her dinner room is fantastic. I love how like her and her husband sitting in their like luxury like travel car, like or their speeder, just their apparel looks super cool. Really, really like that. But yeah, her husband is just a complete dick. You need to get out of that relationship
Yeah.
fast. Like, not good. Same, like the kid is obviously not being a very good kid, but it's one of those unfortunate scenarios where she's just working and busy all the time, so she can't really focus on home life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Her husband. It's funny because he is a dick, and I'm not really loving him for obvious reasons because that's the way the show's kind of setting it up. But whenever I have like a male character like this, it was just like the husband of like a super powerful female. It's just like I get those Celeborn vibes, Lady Galadriel
Mm,
Celeborn, and it's like if Celeborn was an absolute asshole and just like totally trying to screw over Galadriel. That's the vibe I'm getting here. But yeah.
yeah. I don't think I have anything else. I think that pretty much kind of caps it off, unless you have anything.
I had one last. Oh yeah, the creepy thin man thing. Let me
Mm,
mention this, and I think I mean I've been hating on this character quite a bit, and he hasn't been in it too much since. So I think for me personally, that's been the better choice. But I feel like in this episode, it kind of confirmed that like this is just gonna be like not a major player, but he is going to be having some major interaction with our main characters. And unfortunately for me, I'm just not really looking forward to that because I just don't really like this character. And I think the dynamic of him being like a like very much for the Empire, and then just completely like gutted, like lost his title. Like he got fired essentially, right? Like he's
mhm.
he went to visit his mom, and I think I was actually intrigued of like I've never even thought about this situation of like a mom that's just ashamed of her son for like siding with the Empire, like these evil people, and then him like failing going back to his mom, and mom being mom just takes him in like no matter what, even though she slapped him and kind of like upset with him, but still like that's her son, whatever. And just this dynamic of how that affects like a person, like a soldier's actual family life, because in every other Star Wars, or not every, but like majority of other Star Wars uh, products, it seems like they're always kind of just making them like robots. Like they're for the Empire, right? And this makes it really human. And I think just unfortunately for me, I'm just not really liking this character too much. But I think I was hopeful in that moment. And then when it ended of just like him seeing the thing with like Cassian on it, I'm like, oh, okay, well I know where this is going. Like he's never really gonna give up on that. And I just don't really I I I don't know, because like, I get it. We need an opposing force to meet Cassian, but I don't know. I think in that particular moment with the mom, I was hoping for a different direction that we were going with this character, and it's kind of confirmed for you know.
Yeah, I am curious what they're gonna do because he's fired. He's stuck at home now. He's not a very powerful soldier. He doesn't have really any prospects. He doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
anything really going for him. He's not excelled and skilled at anything. He's just good at being a dedicated loyalist to a cause.
Yeah,
By the book, I guess
you
you
should
could
join the
say.
rebellion, right?
He should join the rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got Andor on AB repeat in his room. So it's just gonna be very weird what his goal is. I just feel like he's just
Mom, don't come in.
yeah, don't come in. This feels at this point, and maybe this is like really dark, but I feel like they're setting him up as just being depressed, hating where he's at because this guy ruined his life. And obviously he's gonna go maybe on a revenge path, but I almost feel like he could go into like I don't know, like blowing himself up, like finding Andor and just putting a bomb on him,
Wow.
just like you ruined my life, like boom, just I don't know. It feels like they're really setting up to be this depressed, not someone who wants redemption, but wants revenge and is willing to just do d- dark,
Yeah.
depressing things to execute it, I guess. But I don't think they're gonna go that route with this show. That wouldn't really fit the bill.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he's strapping dynamite on himself going to blow up
yeah.
Andor, but I do think you're not too far off the mark of like he is just gonna kind of see revenge as his goal. Like he doesn't really have a clear path right now, but he has this AB image of Cassian there, and it's just like, well, I don't really have anything else. So let's just focus on this and maybe just kind of put his own life at risk of just trying to get that. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think this character's making it too far past this show or anything like that. But yeah.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's another character. Him and Luthen are probably like one and done for the
Yeah.
season.
Which
But
Luthen, I'm gonna miss a lot more than this guy,
yeah,
Skarsgård.
yeah. I
Maybe
mean, we
his
do.
Andor, his the way he pronounces the
Andor.
OR. He said another word today too. It wasn't Andor. It was something else with the OR, and he just did the classic Skarsgård. And I just like, man, I love this guy.
I could see them keeping him maybe for season 2. If it doesn't detract too much from Cassian Anders storyline, but yeah, we'll see. Anything else? Or do you think we have done it?
No, I think that was a great coverage of a good episode. The axe forgets. I guess that line delivery too was actually really good. I like that. Where I said the axe the axe forgets, but the tree never does. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's good.
Right on. Well, we will be back next week with episode 6 of Andor. And yeah, we'll see you guys later if you tune in for She-Hulk tonight. So yeah, we will see you in the search bar.
Bye.